why we're not sleeping enough. And you know you probably aren't either, because you might be getting the hours but not the quality. You might be getting the quality but not the hours. So let's discuss why that might be the case and what we can do about that and why that's important. For those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I am 41 years old and I train to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep. I try to get between 7 and 9 hours in a night. I do so by minding what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance, which is around 2200 calories in a day. And I try to eat a lot of greens and healthy things, and try to stay away from over-processed foods on that journey. I also show up for daily workouts. Today we actually did the 500 stream of my daily workout. So there you have it. For 500 days I've been actually showing up every morning and doing the work. So hey, if that is something that you are interested in, we can continue that conversation either during the streams or as we're doing here during the workouts, during the podcast. Sorry, just needed to rearrange something on the stove as we're preparing that cup of coffee right there. If you like my content, or come across my content before, so I talk about health, fitness, kettlebells, longevity, life, being a man, all those kinds of things. If you're interested in that, go ahead, hit like on this podcast or on this live stream. Let me know that you're watching in chat, say hi, leave a comment under the video, and subscribe to my channel, and we can continue the conversation today, but also into the future. I think it's worthwhile, and I hope you will think it's worthwhile as well. Today's training, what did I do today? I picked up a kettlebell and I did a circuit of 6 minutes, every minute on a minute. Light kettlebell, 8 kilos, but we did push-ups, we did squats, we did overhead presses, bent over rows, and deadlifts. That's 6 minutes repeated 5 times, and that completes the circuit. And that was the training for today, 30 minutes in the morning, and I'm going to go out for a short walk this morning. I'm going to try to stick to 30 minutes for that walk as well. And that's going to be the bulk of today's activity in terms of trying to live fit and healthy and stay active. But what I want to talk to you about today is sleep. And you can let me know in chat, by the way, if you're doing any kind of workout today, or if you have plans to do workout or have done your workout already today. I'd be curious to hear from you what it is that you've done or that you're going to do. But I want to talk to you today about sleep, specifically because sleep is incredibly important for various reasons. And I think it's important to touch upon not only the reasons, some of the reasons why sleep is important, but also to discuss one small change that we can make to our pattern that is going to maybe help us sleep better. So last week we set a wake-up time for ourselves, which we strive towards, and hopefully still are striving towards. And today we're going to add something to that to see if those two things together actually might help us find better quality of sleep, right? But that's for the end. First of all, sleep, something we all do. And it's not just something we all do, it is something that we all need. We need it to get stronger, to recover, and to function normally throughout the day. Okay, so sleep is one of those universal, non-negotiable. It seems if you look at species and creatures all across the animal kingdom, all across the world, you will find that they sleep, and they need that sleep for their body to get stronger, recover, and to function well, both mentally and physically. All right? And I think we need to start thinking about sleep, just like we know a deadlift is a skill. Being able to design a training schedule is a skill. It's something that we can learn and get better at. Just like cooking is a skill. We can learn how to chop vegetables. We can learn how to mix them into the recipe. And we can get better at, picking recipes, buying the ingredients, preparing them, mixing them together and cooking them in a pan or in the oven over time. Sleep is also a skill. We want to start thinking about sleep as something that we can get good at. The more we focus on how to sleep better, okay? So we can learn how to better prepare for sleep. We can learn how to take charge of our sleeping environment, and we can learn how to set ourselves up to fall asleep better and have uninterrupted sleep, hopefully, throughout the night, although there's not a lot within your control once you do fall asleep, right? So seeing it as a skill, something that we do, and as a non-negotiable, we are always going to try to get between 7 and 9 hours of sleep in a night. And for some people, 9 hours is a lot, so bring it back to 7 to 8 hours, that's completely fine, but anything less than 7 hours, I'd say we are shortchanging ourselves for life. Opinions may vary, but that's my take on it, based on my understanding of sleep and why it matters. There are a couple of things, adverse effects, that we suffer when we don't sleep well. So for example, we diminish our sense of well-being, we diminish our willpower, we start to suffer from low-grade inflammation tied to sleep, and we know that low-grade inflammation over time, especially if it's persistent, is detrimental to our health and the functioning of our body. We diminish the ability of our prefrontal cortex, where we think and make decisions, to function both structurally, it becomes somewhat unsounder, but also the way it functions, and probably those are tied together. So our ability to actually use it diminishes, use it well diminishes, all right? We increase what we eat. There, the coffee's done. So that's going to be steaming for a bit. Hey, Mel B, thanks for dropping by again. And I hope you're still doing well and that your kettlebells are treating you well. You done with the workout? Because I saw you just on the other stream, so I hope the workout was good. Let me know in the chat, and I hope you're having a good start or end of the day, like I'm having a start of the day over here. So, we start to eat more when we don't sleep well. And I think that's important for us to really realize and think about, is that simply by sleeping better, we will probably have better control over our appetite and our impulses to eat, but we tend to graze between 300 and 500 calories more when we haven't slept properly, okay? And you can see that sleep overall has a tremendous impact on our general functioning and on our ability to manage ourselves, but also manage all of these processes that are ongoing in our body. I think another big one that we skip over is that hormonal regulation and management. Insulin, leptin, cortisol is absolutely key to actually managing our overall health and well-being. So the better we're able to manage our hormones, the better our body is able to regulate our hormones, I should put it that way, the healthier we will be, and sleep plays a crucial role there as well, okay? It's also the time that we recover, so I just did a workout. I'm going to go out for a walk. We did a 1 hour run, almost 10 kilometers yesterday. We hiked in the afternoon for 2 hours, or hiked a low intensity walk through the countryside. but with the backpack I carried one of my children who's maybe 17, 18 kilos for quite a bit of that. So a good night's sleep helps us repair and recover from the stresses of the day. Let me just see what you said there, Mel. I have lost some. That is incredible. Okay, that is amazing. An amazing result for the hard work that you've been putting in by sticking with it and being consistent. And I think it is a testament to your ability to actually set a goal and then stick to that goal over time and working towards it regularly, whether that's 2 times a week, 4 times a week, 7 times a week, I don't know. But great effort on your end. Well done. And what a wonderful marker to reach. And all I can say is keep going on your health and fitness journey, and I hope that it's going to pay off for you as it's paid off for me. And be mindful of those kettlebells. Don't get hurt, because then we can't train, all right? As we know from my experience. But congratulations. That's something to be proud of. Really, it is. And let's keep going together, all right? I'd be curious to hear what you did in terms of sleep, food, exercise, and life, like in a couple of messages if you feel like sharing, maybe in a comment under one of my long-form videos or here in chat. So good. So, sleep as a skill, right? A lack of sleep has a lot of detrimental effects. The opposite is true, obviously. Proper sleep is going to help us recover, get stronger, diminishes that low-grade inflammation, keeps our prefrontal cortex working, reduces our appetite, maybe also helps us manage those hormones and those systems in our body that actually manage the hormones and regulate how our body functions. So getting good sleep is absolutely crucial. So what are a couple of things that we need to be mindful of when it comes to sleep? LC said hi back. Thanks for dropping by and saying hello. My name's Toby. I'm 41 years old and I train to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. If you're interested in what I talk about and what I do, stick around for the conversation. Let me know if you have any questions about health and fitness. Today I'm talking about sleep. Tomorrow I'll talk about food. Wednesday I'll talk about movement, activity, training, and exercise. Thursdays I talk about connection, and Fridays we talk about our pursuits and hobbies, all different factors I think that make life, make for a fit, healthy, and fun life. By way of an introduction, and thanks for dropping by and saying hello. So what are some simple changes that we can make, right, for the skill of sleep? Or what are things that we need to be mindful of? Well, we need to be mindful of the time frame of sleeping, right? So that's one that we want to really consider. What time do we need to wake up? What does that imply for our bedtime? If we want to go to bed later, we need to wake up later, if that is possible. I want to wake up at 5, so really 9 p.m. is an important time for me in the day. And I know sometimes if I stay up to 10 or 10:30, I will set the alarm clock for 6 or 6:30. I do not like varying my wake-up time. I think 30 minutes either way, 30 minutes early or 30 minutes later is fine as I understand it, but too much of a difference there does not help my rhythm or energy. It's actually detrimental. So preferably steady bedtime, steady wake-up time, all right? YouTube Punk, you made it. Thanks for dropping by. And I hope you're doing well, and I hope that your schedule is becoming slightly more controllable and manageable from where you're at, all right? But you let me know in chat, and I appreciate you dropping by and saying hello. So setting a bedtime and setting a wake-up time are 2 key things. Another thing that we need to be mindful of, and I know this is a difficult one, but it is one that we need to understand better, is the relationship between drink, food, and sleep. Eating too close to bedtime, body's working harder on digesting, so it makes for troubled sleep. Drinking caffeinated drinks or alcoholic beverages interrupt our sleeping pattern, right? Caffeinated beverages make it harder to fall asleep. Alcoholic beverages interrupt our body's ability to actually reach those levels of deep sleep and REM sleep that we so require for our general health and fitness. So bedtime, wake-up time, food, drink before sleep, all right? I'll leave the conversation of sleep there because there's a lot more to talk about, and we can continue this conversation next week, Monday, on sleep specifically. But I would like to leave you with this one idea on how we can improve the quality of our sleep, and that is very simply to look at the light quality in our room. In other words, are we able to make the room entirely dark? I know I have light blocking curtains, and when it's dark, it is dark in the room, but there is street lights, city lights, other kind of lights out there that do reflect up into the sky. And I will say that one thing that has made a big difference for me is the sleep mask that a friend gave me as a joke for my birthday, but it's actually paying off huge dividends in terms of the quality of sleep that I'm getting, because it is completely dark and I actually fall asleep very quickly in that darkness, okay? So one thing that I could, one change that I would make this week is to procure a sleeping mask, a cheap one, doesn't have to be an expensive one, but just something that helps you limit that light exposure to your eyes the moment you lie on the bed and you actually want to fall asleep, okay? And that's all I have for you today. We have my cup of coffee here, which I'm going to drink, and then I'm going to head out for a 30-minute walk to start off the day. Thanks for the compliment on my outfit, YouTube Punk. I appreciate that. Samantha. Let's see. Thanks for dropping by. We don't discuss politics on this channel. We talk about health, fitness, and kettlebell, and that is one thing that we want to be very clear on. I also state so in the outline for the chat. Let's see. Okay. Hey, congrats. Well, LC, great advice. I appreciate that, and for everyone who's been watching, thanks for dropping by, for saying hi. For those of you who are watching and are wondering, my name is Toby. I'm 41 years old. I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep, minding what I eat, showing up for training, spending time with the people I love and care about, and generally doing things that I enjoy, and trying to live a stress-free life. This is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I stream my daily workouts. I do a podcast where I talk about different topics, actually all the topics I just talked about or listed. So if you're interested in that, go ahead, check out my channel, subscribe, like the video, like the stream, share it with a friend if you think it might be interesting or useful for them. And I look forward to connecting with you on another video or podcast. Remember that we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. It's the person we are today. It's going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. It's a bit of kindness going to go a long way. And friends, the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So I will see you tomorrow. And YouTube Punk, who told you that was going to happen? But friends, remember, subscribe.